NBC Sports Boston, Tom Curran here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Tommy?
Hey, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Figured I'd give you a call. Where did the Josh Gordon news come from here, Tom? Were there any indications as to any problems that Gordon was having?
Not long-standing, really, Rich. You know, he had one catch on 2 targets for 19 yards the other day, and you know, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they indicated that he's kind of was starting to wall himself off a little bit and withdraw, but it wasn't as if there was anything looming in terms of this. But it was attributed to, look, he has a hard time in groups. He was becoming much more silent and a little withdrawn, but that hasn't been going on for weeks. This was just something I had a conversation with someone about yesterday, but it didn't indicate that there was anything sinister, diabolical, or a shoe about to drop.
So I guess then, look, the Patriots do a great job of keeping things in house, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that they were surprised by this, blindsided, if you will, Tom?
Well, what's really hard is, and I spoke to a friend of mine who's a sports psychologist, and he said, what we have to understand is these guys are lonely. And especially with a guy like Josh Gordon, you come into a strange place, you're in dire financial straits, you're battling anxiety, you're battling substance abuse issues that you've had, and now the entire focus is on you. So no matter how much support the Patriots are giving you, you also know there's a quid pro quo to it. So there's an immense amount of pressure. But you're going back to your rented place where you have just a temporary support group in place, no matter how much they want to hold you to their bosom. And you know that they're supporting you in large part because they need you as an employee. That he made it 90 days when, given what happened in Cleveland, you can tell that the wounds are still pretty fresh and he's working through things. I honestly, Rich, maybe I'm naive, I look at that as somewhat of a victory for the kid. And I don't look at the Patriots and say, hey, told you so, should have taken a risk on him. I think that they did him good. You know, yes, you bring him in for the football. But while he's there, you gave him a structure that allowed him to play this sport and find some organization for 90 days. So, to me, yes, that said, there's no way you can monitor what goes on in somebody's skull or what their cravings are or what their loneliness is. And in the end, or not even in the end, I don't know if this is the end. It reached critical mass for him where he said, I'm not healthy right now.
And Tom Curran here, NBC Sports Boston and the Honda Insider Report. So that was going to be my next question. I know this is very new and fresh. This is literally you and I are talking about an hour and a half after the tweet came out from Josh Gordon that he was taking time off to deal with his mental health. Are the Patriots going to keep him in the fold? I mean, are they going to keep him on the roster? I mean, what will they do here with 2 games left of a huge regular season?
Just given the reports, I think it was Tom Pelissero said that there is a looming suspension, which would be indefinite. And if that's the case, and if his move is reactive, Josh Gordon's, to, I'm about to get suspended, I'm going to step aside before they tell me to, or if it's proactive and there is no looming suspension, I think you have 2 different things at play. I would imagine, given that he's a restricted free agent in the spring, that they may stick with him, but I can't guess as to what the tenor of the last week or 10 days has been, because it's been outstanding, and he's a good player. It's not what he was in 2013, but I would imagine that they're not going to turn him out into the cold unless he came in with very strong edicts of 1 strike, Josh.
So now let's move to the football aspect of it, Tom, since
Sure,
obviously,
excellent. Yeah,
you know.
That's the thing. I'm glad you did that because I think it is important to at least articulate that there's the guy there. And I knew that you would anyway. But
No, Tom, I mean,
there's a guy and there's a battle.
I came on the air basically saying that this is a tragedy. This is, I mean, like, and I understand that tragedies involve, you know, multiple fatalities in real life. I'm talking about in the sports world here, okay? That this is for a 27-year-old with the God-given talent that he has and the opportunity that he was given. And the world of football, with the yards are so plentiful these days, he could have been a multimillionaire for years to come, and maybe he still is. And that, as you point out, as you point in your column, today's not the day to say I told you so. But in your column today, Josh Gordon leaving the Patriots hurts on many different levels. The football level for a team that right now is sitting in a wild card position, and we all know that despite the monster success of the Brady Belichick era, the ultimately successful seasons never really come from a wild card round, which is what it looks like right now. So what does Gordon leaving right now mean for this offense that was struggling to score points in Pittsburgh just this past week? What does it mean?
It's a huge blow, but if Josh Gordon was becoming, as Sunday may have been an indication, somewhat of a liability, then it at least opens up the opportunity for Philip Dorsett and Cordero Patterson. Now, there's a reason Josh Gordon was here in the first place, and that wasn't because this place is Father Flanagan's, home for boys. It's because he's good and better than Philip Dorsett and Cordero Patterson and Chris Hogan, despite the fact that he had to work through plenty of things. So they return now to a team that has Julian Edelman with a bad foot and struggling to get to top speed generally. You have Rob Gronkowski's going to see more attention, and I don't think that he needs to see more attention now from defenses. He's having a hard enough time getting open. Chris Hogan is fine as a compliment. Same with Philip Dorsett. And Cordero Patterson, he only had caught 5 downfield passes all season prior to about 3 weeks ago. He's only been targeted 5 times. He's not a downfield guy. It's just not. He's not instinctive, and he doesn't, he goes off route, as they say here, quite frequently.
There's nobody sitting there as a long snapper that can come out and be wide receiver, Tom? There's nobody lurking
Joe Cardona might have uncapped potential as a wideout.
There's nobody that.
But I don't think so.
I don't know, man. There's always, Troy Brown played corner. I mean, we all know what happens around these parts, man. Certainly when it's time for playoffs.
What about T.O.? Terrell Owens probably has nothing but time on his hands right now.
Please, Tom. Please tell me there's even a germ of truth in that. Come on now. Come on.
I would imagine not.
Oh, damn it. So, I mean...
Wait, Brandon, whoa. Brandon Marshall.
You know what? I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's possible? He is sitting at the crib right now. What do you think?
What's it hurt? It's a human who's tall and has played in the NFL.
Isn't it amazing, too, that Kelvin Benjamin was around, too? I mean, that would have been a guy that they could jump on, and obviously he's on the Chiefs roster. But in all seriousness, though, Tom, let me hit you on a couple of third-rail subjects involving the Patriots. Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston. Is Brady hurt?
No, he's better now.
Okay.
The knee injury that he suffered against Tennessee on the double pass where he tweaked his knee.
Mm-hmm.
My former colleague, good friend, and your NFL Network insider, Mike Giardi, speculated that it might be an MCL. That MCL has healed to the point where he's off the injury list.
Okay.
He's off the injury report.
Okay, so he's fine.
So he ain't hurt.
All right, he's not hurt. And Gronk, is he at the end? I mean, is this the end of Gronk?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
you're asking me what my feeling is? Yes. Asking me to report that with a byline saying that I have a source saying that? No.
Nice.
But he still isn't a happy camper.
What do you mean?
At all. Just isn't having a good time. Last year we reported on the fact that he's, it's not been an enjoyable season, and this year it's similar, but different in that health is again an issue for him, whereas it was not in 2017.
So
he feels a little bit taken advantage of in the contract stuff in the off season. The fact that they gave him an incentive-laden contract, and now he's had no prayer of hitting it. He feels he's been underpaid and taken advantage of, and it ain't a lot of fun. So it's in his head.
So
not his problems are in his head, but his productivity, I think, as everybody's is often tied to how do you feel about going to work. Right now, not great.
So 2019 Gronk is fill in the blank. Where?
sitting there saying, should I really have just stepped aside like this? Because what's interesting is if he does decide to retire, well, the Patriots release him, and he says, I'm not going to play anywhere but except with Tom Brady. There will be a home for him, but I don't think he's going to get more money than he made now. He is entering a very difficult period, I think, because his identity is tied to what he's done, and it's been compromised. And he's only 29. So it's beyond prediction, really.
And then at what point, Tom, looking over the steering wheel here, does the Brady future conversation come up? Because there's been all that conversation last year out of the Seth Wickersham story and everything that went down in the offseason, pleading the fifth and all that business got swept under the rug or is, in fact, completely evaporated. I don't know. Maybe you could fill in the blanks there. But what about him? When do we hit that?
Yeah, they've done a much better job, Rich, of coming to, I guess, an uneasy truce. 2017 was a season in which I think Tom was not really proactive in telling the team a number of different things that he wanted to explore after he won his 5th Super Bowl. And I think there was pushback from Bill Belichick specifically and the rest of the coaches as to, what's going on? What are we doing here? This is not how we've done it in the past. That led to the kind of the pissing contest between player and coach that lasted throughout the season. But they're both not the most confrontational people. So they never got it aired out. Whether or not they got it aired out necessarily, I think they've come to a truce in that, all right, both of us could have done stuff differently, and they're in a better spot. But I still think that the evidence remains that he's an older quarterback. They have no answer in-house as a successor. And while what he is surrounded by, and Josh Gordon even being on the team is actually a byproduct and a symptom of what Brady's been surrounded by, which was not that much, you still have to look at, is he going to make it to 45? He's entering the final year of his contract. Do we want to re-up with him further? Or do we need to get to somebody who can make the players around him better by his own mobility in the pocket, who costs less money? So those are the conversations that they're going to have once the final whistle sounds and there's confetti or not.
So when? February, March, April, draft time? What do you think? When does that come to a head?
Draft time.
Okay.
Draft time. I wouldn't.
Or it depends on what happens over the next few weeks too, right, Tom? I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of it will. Does Tom want to come back? Does Tom look at it the way he does? Does Josh McDaniels want to come back? Who will Tom be working with if Josh decides he wants to take an opportunity elsewhere? So is Gronk back? I mean, is Julian Edelman back? I mean, that's why I wrote a few weeks ago that there's a lot of bills coming due. Trey Flowers is their best defensive player in many ways. He's a free agent. He might make $80 million. The Patriots going to match that. They don't have any tight ends beyond Gronk. That's an issue. They don't have really any wide receivers. That's an issue. You got a 41-year-old quarterback. I mean, a lot of bills are coming due, as I've written.
Tom Curran, I love chatting with you. Love your work. Love everything that you bring to the table when we have conversations like this. Have a great Christmas and holiday and New Year season with you and yours.
All right. Thanks for thinking of me, and have a great holiday yourself.
Always. You got it. That's Tom Curran, at Tom E. Curran on Twitter. Follow him. His great column. Josh Gordon leaving the Patriots hurts on many different levels.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.